This way, a hollow echo behind your ambitions, a ghost in the machinery of your life that whispers of a different, more vibrant existence just beyond your reach. A reason why the trappings of adulthood feel like a costume you're wearing and not a skin you're in. And tonight, we're going to expose it. We're going to pull back the curtain on the most seductive and paralyzing archetype that lives in the male psyche, the eternal boy, the Puer Eternus. And this isn't about blame. This isn't about shame. This is about understanding the invisible wound that drives this entire inside the psychology of a man-child, Puer Eternus pattern. A wound that often feels like a secret superpower, but is in reality a cage gilded with potential. You've felt this, haven't you? That restless ache when things become too routine, too defined, the gravitational pull toward the new, the exciting, the possible, which is always so much more intoxicating than the actual, the completed, the real, because the real has edges, it has flaws, it has consequences, while the possible is a smooth, perfect sphere of infinite promise, a world where you are forever the coming king, never the reigning one who must deal with droughts and taxes and the mundane disappointments of a kingdom that is, after all, just land. This is the core of the Puer, the eternal boy, a term Carl Jung gave us to describe a man who cannot, or will not, fully incarnate into his own life, who remains perched on the precipice of his own potential, mistaking the view for the destination. And this is more than just immaturity. It's a specific psychological structure built for a purpose, a defense mechanism of breathtaking elegance and profound self-sabotage. Let's go deeper. The mind creates this pattern not as a failure of character, but as a misguided attempt at self-preservation. A flight from a profound and often early pain, the pain of limitation, the pain of the mundane, the pain of being truly seen in all your flawed human complexity. Because to be seen is to be known, and to be known is to be vulnerable to disappointment, to criticism, to the crushing weight of other people's expectations. So it's safer, infinitely safer, to live in the realm of what you could be, because that person is perfect, unimpeachable, a dazzling phantom that never has to be tested against the hard rocks of reality. Pause. Notice what that just revealed in your own body. That slight tension in your shoulders when you think of a commitment you've hesitated on, a relationship you've kept at arm's length, a project forever in the planning stages. You've felt this before, haven't you? The hidden emotional trigger is almost always a deep-seated fear of being tracked, of being annihilated by the ordinary, of having your vibrant, unique self swallowed whole by the gray, crushing machine of conventional life. A life symbolized by the father you perhaps saw as defeated, burdened, joyless. A man who sold his dreams for a lawnmower and a monthly mortgage payment. And you swore you would never let that happen to you. So you built an identity on the very opposite of that, on freedom, on spontaneity, on possibility. But what you didn't realize is that in fleeing that particular prison, you built another. A prison of air and ideas, with no walls except the ones you can't see, the horizon that forever recedes as you walk toward it. But here's the truth. This isn't freedom. It's a reaction. And a reaction is still a form of bondage, a chain made of light. Let me tell you a story about Alex. Alex was a brilliant programmer, a man whose mind danced with algorithms and world-changing apps. His hard drive a graveyard of half-finished startups, each one abandoned the moment a real investor showed interest. The moment the vision had to become a business plan with deadlines and payroll, because that was the death of the beautiful, pure idea. It was the moment the magical, otherworldly sprite of his imagination had to put on clothes and get a job, and he would feel a physical revulsion, a claustrophobia that sent him running to the next shiny concept, leaving a trail of frustrated colleagues and his own mounting self-loathing. Because he knew, on some level, he was a king of sandcastles. Always building, never reigning. Ask yourself this now: where in your life are you building sandcastles and calling it architecture? The first weapon to shatter this cycle is the weapon of conscious embodiment. This is the antidote to the Puer's disincarnate state. his tendency to live in the head, in the future, in the fantasy. It's about forcibly, gently, relentlessly bringing your awareness down from the ether and into the dirt and blood and bone of your physical existence. Step 1. Recognize the trigger. The trigger is the feeling of flight, that rising energy in your chest when a task becomes tedious, when a conversation becomes demanding, when reality asks something concrete of you. It's the itch to check your phone, to start a new project, to fantasize about a different life. Name it. Ah, there it is, the flight impulse. Step 2. Reframe the story. The story the Puer tells is, this is boring, this is beneath me, this is trapping my spirit. Reframe it to this. This is the ground. This is the price of admission to a real life. My spirit isn't trapped by this task. It is being given a body through it. Step 3. Replace the pattern. When the trigger fires and you've reframed the story, you replace the flight with grounding. Plant your feet firmly on the floor. Feel the weight of your body in the chair. Pick up a simple physical object, a pen, a coffee mug, and feel its texture, its temperature, its undeniable reality. Do one small, complete physical act. Wash a single dish thoroughly. Make your bed with precision. Go for a walk without headphones and just feel your feet hitting the pavement. This isn't about achievement, it's about presence. You're starting to see it now, how the escape from the body is the escape from life itself. What no one tells you is that the Puer's greatest fear, the fear of being trapped, is already his reality. He is trapped in the perpetual adolescence of his own potential. And true freedom lies not in more options, but in the chosen limitation, the fully inhabited commitment. Let's go deeper still. The second story is about Ben. Ben was the life of every party, a charismatic vortex of stories and charm. His social calendar, a mosaic of interesting people and fleeting connections, yet he was profoundly, achingly lonely. He would meet a wonderful woman, and for a few weeks, it would be magic, a storybook romance. But the moment the relationship demanded something, vulnerability, consistency, facing a conflict together, he would find a flaw, manufacture a reason to leave, and vanish, already crafting the story of the one who got away, or the narrow escape, preserving the perfect, crystalline memory of the beginning and avoiding the messy, beautiful complexity of the middle. His life was a museum of beautiful introductions, with no full-length novels. He was haunted by the ghost of his mother, a wonderful but emotionally fragile woman whom he had to constantly cheer up and entertain as a child, learning that his value was in his performance, in his lightness, and that any display of his own neediness, his own darkness, would be a burden too heavy, a trap for both of them. So he learned to fly, to never land, because to land was to risk being a burden, to be truly known was to be truly left. Pause, feel the weight of that adaptation, the brilliant, heartbreaking strategy of a boy who decided his needs were too heavy for the world. You felt a version of this, haven't you? The fear that if you stop performing, if you stop being the fascinating, easygoing guy, people will see the ordinary, needy person underneath and they will turn away. The second weapon is the weapon of vulnerable communion. This is the sword that cuts the cord of performative connection and allows for real, grounded relationship. It's about trading the dazzling performance for the quiet, risky truth. Step 1. Recognize the trigger. The trigger here is the moment of relational depth, the point where a conversation moves from witty banter to real feeling, where a partner shares a dazzling performance and expects you to share one in return. The moment the mask of the charming hero is about to slip, your impulse will be to deflect with a joke, to change the subject, to physically leave. Step 2. Reframe the story. The Puer story is, if I show my real self, I will be a burden. I will be trapped. She will be disappointed. Reframe it. My vulnerability is not a burden. It is an invitation. It is the only thing that can build a bridge between two solitudes. It is the ground upon which real love is built, not the phantom love of admiration. Step 3. Replace the pattern. When you feel the urge to deflect or flee, take one small, terrifying step inward. Instead of a joke, offer a quiet, "That sounds really difficult." Instead of changing the subject, take a breath and say, "Sometimes I feel that way too," and then share one small, true thing. Not your deepest, darkest secret, just a crack in the facade. "I sometimes worry I'm not enough for this job. I felt really nervous before coming here tonight." This tiny act of vulnerability is an atomic bomb against the walls of the Puer's castle. You feel it making sense already, how the performance is the very barrier to the connection you crave. The third story is about Daniel. Daniel was an artist, a man with a soulful gaze and a studio filled with breathtaking canvases that no one ever saw. He was a master of the almost finished. A piece would be 95% complete, and he would see one tiny flaw, an imperfection that to him ruined the entire thing, and he would abandon it, or worse, paint over it in a fit of self-recrimination. He lived in the shadow of a colossal, internalized ideal of the great artist, a ghost he could never measure up to. So it was better to leave the work unfinished, because an unfinished masterpiece exists in a state of perfect potential, while a finished one is just a thing, a flawed human object that can be judged, criticized, and found wanting. His father, a pragmatic and critical man, had always dismissed his artistic pursuits as a nice hobby, and Daniel had internalized that criticism not as a rejection, but as a challenge to create something so perfect, so undeniably brilliant, that it would finally force his father and the world to validate him. But since perfection is impossible, he was stuck in a loop of glorious failure, a Sisyphus painting the same rock forever. Ask yourself this now. What masterpiece in your life is sitting at 95%, waiting for you to have the courage to make the final, flawed, humanizing stroke? The third weapon is the weapon of sacred finishing. This is the practice of completion over perfection, of valuing the act of bringing something to term over its immaculate conception. It is the deliberate murder of the ideal, which is a murder of the self that is always in potential. Step 1. Recognize the trigger. The trigger is the voice of the perfectionist, the inner critic that screams as you near the end of a project, a goal, a commitment. It's the hyper-focus on a tiny flaw, the sudden inspiration for a completely new, better project. The feeling that it's all gone wrong and you should just scrap it. Step 2. Reframe the story. The Puer's story is, "This isn't perfect, therefore it is worthless. I am worthless for having created it." Reframe it. Completion is a form of birth. It is messy, bloody, and sacred. A finished, flawed thing has more power and reality than a perfect, unborn idea. My value is in the act of finishing, not in the impossible standard of perfection. Step 3. Replace the pattern. Choose one small, unfinished thing in your life right now. An email you've been putting off, a book you're 90% through, a small home repair. Set a timer for 25 minutes and commit to finishing it. Not perfecting it, just getting it to a state of done. Declare it complete. Feel the visceral release, the slight anticlimax, the grounding weight of having actually done something. This is the feeling of incarnation, the feeling of being a man who affects the world, not a ghost who merely haunts it with his potential. You're starting to see the architecture of the prison now, the way the fear of the ground keeps you in the air, the way the fear of being judged keeps you from being known, the way the fear of being flawed keeps you from being finished. But here's the truth, the Puer is not your enemy. He is a part of you, a vital part. He holds your creativity, your spontaneity, your connection to the divine, the magical, the possible. The goal is not to kill the eternal boy, but to invite him to grow up, to become the Puer Senix, the union of the eternal youth and the wise old man, the man who can dream like a poet and build like an engineer. This is the ultimate integration, the inside the psychology of a man-child, Puer Eternus, psychology fix that doesn't eradicate the symptom, but heals the underlying wound, allowing the energy to flow into a fully formed life. Let's go deeper into the final weapon, the one that makes all the others possible. The fourth weapon is the weapon of symbolic fatherhood. This is not necessarily about becoming a biological father. It's about internalizing the principle of the father, the archetypal energy of structure, authority, boundaries, and conscious law. The Puer is a son of the mother, in the psychological sense, meaning he is identified with the unconscious, the emotional, the oceanic world of potential. To break free, he must kill the mother, not his actual mother, but his psychological attachment to that unconscious womb-like state, and internalize the father, the one who says no, who sets limits, who provides the form that gives life its shape and meaning. This is how you end inside the psychology of a man-child Puer Eternus pattern tonight, by consciously choosing to become the father to your own inner boy. Step 1. Recognize the trigger. The trigger is the feeling of being overwhelmed by possibilities, by emotions, by the formless chaos of life. It's the resentment towards external authority figures, the boss, the government, the rules, because they represent the limiting principle you have failed to install within yourself. Step 2. Reframe the story. The pure story is rules and structure are killing my spirit. I need to be free of all constraints. Reframe it. Structure is not the enemy of freedom. It is the container that makes freedom possible. A river without banks is a swamp. I am now the source of my own law, my own structure. I am the father who lovingly sets the boundaries for the creative, restless boy within. Step 3. Replace the pattern. When you feel that resentment towards external limits or that overwhelmed feeling by life's chaos, stop. Become the father. Ask yourself, what would a good, strong, compassionate father do right now? He wouldn't whine about the rules. He would create a plan. He would set a boundary. He would make a decision and take responsibility for it. He would say enough to the boy's endless wanting. Create one simple, non-negotiable structure for yourself. A wake-up time, a financial budget, a dedicated hour for deep work, and hold yourself to it with firm, loving authority. You are no longer rebelling against the father. You are being the father. This is the final integration. You feel it, don't you? The shift from being at the mercy of your inner world to being the conscious architect of it. This is the journey from the clouds to the earth, from the potential to the actual, from the boy who dreams of kingdoms to the man who tends his own garden. A garden that is real, with real soil, real weeds, and real, nourishing fruit. The Puer's energy, once channeled, becomes the fuel for a life that is both grounded and inspired. A life where you are no longer haunted by the ghost of who you might be, but are fully, powerfully present in the reality of who you are. And who you are is enough.